Someone who voted for Trump, I'll say it, this isn't what we voted for. Trump went from God spared me to save America to Israel first and I'm probably going to hell. 10 months. That's all it took. Pam Bondi's out here talking about confiscating pew-pews, walked back on the Epstein files, and now pushing hate speech laws after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Same people who swore that hate speech doesn't exist. Fauci is still walking free. Undocumented deportations are down. AIPAC is literally bragging about owning our politicians. Nobody's been arrested for any of the Doge corruption or bribery cases, and still somehow a 40-hour work week still won't get you a 2-bedroom in any state. But we're the ones paying for another country's free healthcare and education. Now Trump's giving shoutouts to Miriam Adelson, a billionaire donor who couldn't even say whether she loves America or Israel more. They knew what they were doing. They put Trump in because they knew they could sell you control as less government, while expanding the same surveillance, the same foreign loyalty, the same censorship they used to blame the left for. This is not saving America. It's selling it.
Name one time Trump was racist. Okay, I will. 1973, the Nixon administration sued Trump for refusing to rent to black people. 1980s, Trump's casinos were accused of hiding the black staff when Trump visited. 1989, Trump took out a full-page ad arguing for the death penalty for a group of 5 black men that was Central Park 5, effectively putting a bounty on their heads and plaguing them with a lifetime of death threats. He was sued by the Justice Department for discrimination. 1991, black guys counting my money, I hate it. The only kinds of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes every day. I think that the black guy is lazy, and it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. 1992, Trump's casino was fined $200,000 for transferring black dealers off certain tables to appease racist patrons. 1993, Trump said Native American casinos shouldn't be allowed because they don't look like Indians to me. 2000, Trump ran a series of attack ads against Native American casinos alleging, with no proof, that they were guilty of crimes. 2004, Trump fired a black contestant from The Apprentice for being overeducated. 2010, Trump arguing in favor of segregating Muslims in Lower Manhattan. 2011, birtherism. Trump alleged that Obama was Kenyan based on nothing but skin color. He never apologized nor renounced the claim.
I am making this video just to let you guys know, in case you don't, that I am a liberal, okay? I've been seeing a lot of creators talk about politics lately, and everyone's like, why are you bringing politics into your account? This is my formal statement that I am a liberal and I did vote for Kamala. You couldn't catch me voting for that orange freak, okay? I don't want anyone to assume, not that anyone does. Well, actually that's a lie. Everyone assumes. Literally everyone assumes on my thirst traps. And I just want to let you all know that I actually hate Donald Trump with every single bone in my body. I have never hated someone ever in my life. I think about how much I hate him probably 12 hours a day. It crosses my mind every single morning. And I did vote for Kamala because I fucking love that queen. She's so awesome. She's so funny. I was talking about her speech the other day. We could have had a great country and a great woman in power, but God forbid the United States likes a woman over a man. Likes a woman over a rapist. Yeah, very much.
How bizarre is it to see what's happening in the US with the US under Trump? Now their biggest threat isn't any foreign country. It's people inside that don't agree with him, that think critically and don't believe his bullshit. People that are educated and understand that he's full of bullshit and lies. And he's trying to turn the military against those people in his own country. So not to fight or defend their country internationally, but to suppress what free-thinking people are thinking and saying. It's fucking terrifying.
Oh my God, I just saw a video that said that Trump has the lowest approval rating of any president in the last 80 years. He's 78. That means that he is the worst president of his entire lifetime. And then his staff had to tell him that he's the #1 worst president. And his question was, well, who was the second worst? And then his staff member had to say, that's also you. His administration now is the worst administration in the last 80 years, and his first administration is the second worst administration in the last 80 years. He's literally the worst president of our lifetime. Twice.
All right, Trumpers, I've never seen this in all of my life. Donald Trump, a president of the United States, which kids look up to, a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers inspired to be presidents, says, fuck you. I can't believe it. He said those words, and he said that Israel has been dropping bombs like he's never seen before, and fuck them. And I'm like, are you serious? We have a president that's talking like this? It's beyond me. And what is more sickening is all the MAGA freaks out here think that that's okay and that behavior is okay. Donald Trump does not know how to run a country. He doesn't know how to run a business. What makes you think he knows how to run a country? 15 failed businesses, 6 bankruptcies, a 34 convicted felony. He's had multiple sexual issues in court. Stormy Daniels, he's had to pay money to, $8 million. And you think that he knows how to run a country, much less a war, and now he's saying, fuck you, on national TV, and all these kids are hearing it? It's a disgrace and it's a shame.
America never makes a mistake just once. Oh no, we like to remix our failures and act surprised like every single time. And when it comes to terrible presidents, we don't just have one. We have 3. 3 men who didn't just fail. They steered this country straight into disaster and left the rest of us to clean it up. Andrew Johnson, James Buchanan, and Donald Trump. The political version of the Three Stooges. Except nobody's laughing. And if that wasn't bad enough, we had Nixon and Reagan lurking in the background, making sure America's future stayed just as messy. First up, Andrew Johnson. The man who took over after Lincoln was assassinated and thought, you know what this country needs? More white supremacy. Lincoln freed the enslaved. Johnson made sure that white Southerners still controlled their lives. Congress tried to give Black Americans rights. Johnson said nah and vetoed it all. The Confederacy lost the war. Johnson welcomed them back with open arms, as if they hadn't just committed treason. This man had the power to change America forever, to make freedom real. Instead, he made sure that racism stayed baked into the system. The Civil War ended, but thanks to him, the fight for Black freedom had to start all over again. And then there's James Buchanan, the human definition of not my problem. The country was on the brink of a civil war, and Buchanan just sat there. Southern states started seceding, and he did nothing. By the time he left office, the Civil War had basically already started. This man had one job, to keep the country from collapsing, and he chose not to. He passed the mess off to Lincoln like a kid turning in a failed group project. The Civil War was not inevitable. Buchanan just let it happen. And then, Donald Trump. The remix of all their worst traits, but louder, and with worse hair. Like Johnson, Whig was impeached twice. Like Buchanan, he ignored a national crisis. Except this time it was a pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands of people. And like both of them, he made sure division, hate, and violence outlived his presidency. But Trump didn't just screw up the country. He actually tried to break democracy itself. He lied, sent a mob after Congress, and then sat back and watched as they stormed the Capitol. He didn't just fail as a leader. He tried to burn the whole country down on his way out. And just when you think America's terrible president roster can't get any worse, dishonorable mentions incoming. Richard Nixon, the man who turned corruption into an art form. He spied, cheated, got caught, and still managed to get a pardon because in America, if you're powerful enough, crime is just suggestion. Watergate should have been the biggest political scandal of all time, until Whig came along and said, hold my beer. Ronald Reagan, the man who sold America a lie and called it patriotism. He convinced the working class that making the rich richer would somehow benefit them. Spoiler, it didn't. He ignored the AIDS crisis, let thousands die, and turned racism into Republican policy. And let's not forget that his administration was literally caught illegally selling weapons. And somehow, they still act like he was the second coming of Christ. So when someone asks you who was the worst president, don't just pick one. Pick the 3 who left this country in shambles. Johnson, Buchanan, and Trump. And if you ever why America keeps making the same mistakes, look at Nixon and Reagan. They didn't just fail. They set the stage for the next disaster. And
hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just popped up to say hi. If you're watching my videos, I'm not interrupting your watch. Continue watching these clips and I will make our conclusions at the end of the video. So continue watching. I just popped up to say you mean a lot to me and I really appreciate you. And it's really nice having like-minded people having a discussion and engagement. So don't forget to comment, to like and subscribe probably if this content makes you happy or enlightens you in a way. Don't forget to subscribe. So I just popped up to say hi. How are you doing? And thank you for being my viewer, my subscriber. And don't forget to comment so that you can engage in dialogue. That's what informed people do.
Donald Trump is far and away the most corrupt president in all of American history. He's a criminal. He's a convicted felon. He's an insurrectionist who tried to overthrow the republic so that he could stay in office illegally. More than any other president who has ever held that office, Donald Trump deserves to be impeached and removed from office and then prosecuted for his many, many crimes. And now we have the first articles of impeachment being filed against this piece of shit criminal. Let me read just a little bit. Here's a headline from The Hill. Michigan Democrat files articles of impeachment against Trump. Quote, I have introduced articles of impeachment against President Trump. When Trump ignores the Constitution, Congress, and the courts, he is not fighting for America. He is tearing it down.
Okay, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Donald Trump, not out of praise, but out of truth. Because while you rip through every part of this government, tearing down justice, equality, and fairness under the fake excuse of fighting DEI fraud, what you're really doing is confirming what black folks have been saying for generations. America was built on racism, fueled by fear and sustained by white supremacy. You've exposed it all. The masks are off. The polite racism, the fake allyship, the colorblind lies, it's all gone. Now we see it raw and unfiltered. You're not just targeting policy, you're targeting people. Black people, brown people, marginalized communities. And the wild part, we make up the smallest portion of this country, yet somehow we are the biggest threat to the lie that white supremacy built. That should tell you everything. You're afraid not of violence, not of replacement, but of the power we hold even when we have nothing. You see the way our culture, our brilliance, our resilience, our excellence continues to shape this country, even when it tries to erase us. Donald Trump is just the loudest version of a system that's always been in place. He is the living, breathing proof that this country was never designed with us in mind. And yet, we continue to define it. So thank you, Donald, for exposing what so many tried to deny, for showing the world that the fear of black greatness is real, for proving that racism isn't in our imagination, it's in the fabric of this nation. And to my people, we don't have to fight to prove our worth. He's doing that for us. All we have to do is stand firm, stay awake, and know that the truth is finally louder than the lie. We are not broken. We are not the problem. We are the evidence of the power that this country can contain. Let that truth ring louder than his hate.
Why do you dislike Trump so much? Let me ask that.
Yeah, I have so many reasons. Would you like a single sentence, a
The
paragraph?
the biggest point, I would say.
So you want like my largest and longest explanation insofar as why I don't like Trump?
Yeah, sure.
Are you positive? It could take a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. I have time.
Okay. Well, I don't like Trump. I typically break it down into 3 categories. You have character, you have domestic policy, and you have foreign policy. So we're going to start off with that first category. That's going to be character. His character is absolutely abysmal. First and foremost, he's an adjudicated rapist. The civil court determined that he's guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll in 2023. Second of all, he's a 34-count felon. He was found guilty of 34 felonies for sending hush money to a porn star that he slept with, cheated on his wife with prior to this 2016 election, and then misclassified them as business expenses. So 34-count felon, adjudicated rapist. Not to mention, he's also like pretty racist. He told people to essentially not vote for Obama because Obama's black by saying that he's born in Africa with no reason, even though Obama has a birth certificate from Hawaii. He also called for the death penalty for the exonerated Central Park 5 years after they were exonerated. And then in the 90s, he called all black people lazy in 92, then reaffirmed that something that he said in 97. On top of that, he's also incredibly misogynistic. I mean, he's made weird comments about how you could just grab a woman by the P word without asking first. He boasted about perving on the naked bodies of teenage girls and grown adult women at Miss Teen USA and Miss USA, as well as he said the best thing that could ever happen to a woman is pregnancy. He's sexualized his own daughter, saying he'd date her if he wasn't his daughter. Apparently, on the Howard Stern podcast, he made his daughter a promise when she was 17, saying that he would never date anybody younger than her. implying that he would date a 17-year-old when he was 40, as well as he sexualized a 10-year-old girl. In 1995, he was caught on a hot mic on an escalator telling a 10-year-old girl that he'd be dating her in 10 years. Not to mention all of his involvement with Epstein. I mean, he was best buddies from Epstein when Epstein was bringing children to his billionaire island and sexually abusing them. Epstein would even tell his victims that he was best friends with Donald Trump, and he had a framed picture of the two together on his desk. Not to mention that in 2003, Donald Trump sent Epstein a letter depicting the body of a naked woman, or in my mind, a girl, with a statement, "May every new day be another wonderful secret." And that's just the beginning about his character. He's a chronic liar. In his first term, he told over 30,000 lies. He's told the largest lie that any sitting president has ever told when he denied the outcome of the 2020 election and convinced 72% of all Republicans in the country to also deny it, instilling virtues of distrust in their civil electoral processes. He's also a raging narcissist. Once again, he baby raged in 2020 when he lost the election to the point that he literally tried to rig and steal it back. Third of all, he's just an egotistical power maniac. He doesn't care about any check nor balance. That's why he called for the termination of the Constitution in December of 2022. That's why he's been firing and replacing judges with no experience to further his agenda. And that's why he's explicitly violated the Constitution like 7 times in the last 250 days in office, ranging from attempting to take our 14th Amendment rights from us with Executive Order number 14160, calling for a termination of the 22nd Amendment when he said he wanted to run for a 3rd term, or violating the First Amendment 3 weeks ago when he tried to ban burning of the American flag, even though the Supreme Court ruled that was expressly protected under the First Amendment in 1989. Now, those are some facts about his character. Of course, there's more. Let's go ahead and move on to domestic policy. His domestic policy is just absolutely atrocious. We'll start off with economic policy. So in July of this year, he passed a $4.5 trillion bill, the largest spending bill ever passed in the American Congress, by the way. So say goodbye to conservatism in relation to our nation's spending or debt. And this $4.5 trillion bill literally redirects and takes money from the poor and gives it to the rich. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, 51% of income earners in this country are going to be losing money because of the cuts to Medicaid, kicking 10 million people off, the cuts to food stamps, kicking 3 million people off, the cuts to the DOE, kicking 400,000 school children off of free school student lunches and free school student breakfasts, just to further fund tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. Now, in America, if you make over $1 million per year, you're going to be getting an additional 4% back per year. And that's just his economic policy. He has other very terrible domestic policy, ranging from directing SCOTUS to overturn Roe v. Wade, which has now led to the consequence of 60 pregnant great victims per day being denied access to abortion in 10 of our states, or 66 million American women in all 50 states having their human rights infringed upon, as well as we have other terrible domestic policy, like renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War, then declaring war on American citizens in Chicago and American citizens in D.C. But of course, he doesn't care about violent crime as he suggests he does, which is the reason he says he's doing this, because he pardoned 72 violent offenders that tried to beat up and kill cops on January 6th at our country's capital, such as DJ Rodriguez, who gave Officer Fanone a goddamn heart attack by driving a stun gun into his neck. Donald Trump let him out 8 years early and gave him a full and complete presidential pardon. Not to mention his terrible immigration policy, the mass deportation. He wants to remove every single undocumented immigrant from this country. That's going to destroy us. According to the American Immigration Council, if we do that, our GDP will fall by a projected $1.1 through $1.7 trillion per year, which is going to destabilize American industries. It's going to increase joblessness claims. It's going to slow GDP growth. It's going to increase poverty, increase crime. Everybody's fucked. We're all fucked. Not to mention, it costs $2 trillion to do it in the next 10 years because we'd be removing 8.3 million of our workers and 11 million of our consumers that pay close to $100 billion per year in taxes. And so there's a little bit about his domestic policy. But his foreign policy is even worse. I mean, he's just bending the knee to Israel. He's saying, what do you need from us so you could continue to genocide more innocent Palestinians? Or, I don't know, he's signing very terrible agreements with the Congo just to exploit them for more of their minerals, so on and so forth, while not ending their conflict with the Rwandan M23 insurgents, but claiming he did. Or imposing tariffs on every single one of our allies, which has now led 23 countries globally to stop all parcel shipments into this country. And is now leading to an increase in power held by other countries like China, Russia, and so on. So we'll stop there. That was about 10 minutes.
The other day, someone in my comment section told me that Democrats are lunatics. Democrats don't like to engage in discussions. Now, let me debunk this lie. which has been ongoing on since time immemorial. Democrats don't like engagement. The situation we are in as a country, it is evil against good. The Trump administration has labeled us as terrorists, the left lunatics. And do you know what the American or the US government doesn't do with the terrorists? They don't negotiate with terrorists. Literally, we don't. So the government, by designating the Democrats as terrorists, they are not ready to negotiate. They are not ready to talk. They are not ready to engage. Just bombing, send military to their cities, send ICE to their neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Are you with me? Are you with me? You can't discuss or you can't dialogue with someone who considers you, your ideologies, what you stand for, as evil, as something that can't be tolerated. The other point, as we are talking, Trump is placing tariffs, gerrymandering in red states, the cost of living groceries is skyrocketing. Trump, the worst president ever. So when we are talking, what does this talking change? Let me tell you, when we talk, it only changes our ideologies during the voting process or during the voting season. But it doesn't change anything when it comes to government policies. Trump is sending military all over our countries. Trump is making our lives unbearable. The billionaires are destroying the American dream. You know what I mean? So talking or engaging in dialogue will never change our country. In 1776, when we gained independence, we didn't gain independence through talking to the British. Did we? King George. Did we talk to him? Oh, sir, give us independence. Now we can rule ourselves. Did we? When Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, maybe we talked him out. Saddam, no, don't do that. Saddam, no, please. Civil War, when the South decided to keep the slaves, and maybe secede. What did he do? Talk to them. Maybe they met the Abe Lincoln, met with them at DC, and maybe decided to talk them out of the idea. Oh no, you can't do this. That's maybe what Abraham Lincoln did with the Confederates. He talked them out, and that's how the Civil War ended. Yes, true. Read history. Abraham Lincoln discussed, or maybe there was a conference with these states which broke out from the United States, and they talked, and the Civil War ended. That's how they surrendered. Tell me in the comment section. Hitler, when he was invading Europe, the British, French, the Spanish, the American, they called him, they discussed, and then the war was over because Hitler decided to withdraw his troops, and that's how World War II ended. When Japan invaded our allies, when Japan invaded United States, our president, he called him, they discussed, and then the war ended. That's how we fight against fascism, by talking, by engaging in dialogue. When someone wants or decides that you are evil, you talk with them. The time of dialogue is over in this country. We have to ensure and put in place radical measures. Enter into groups, Democrats groups. Ensure that we are recruiting. Ensure that we are rallying our base. Ensure that we have a common cause in this country. We are not discussing with Republicans. We are not engaging. We are not engaging in dialogues. No. That time, that window is closed. We are taking this government. So, until the next video, what I usually say, stay blue, stay alert, stay focused, listen blue, watch blue, talk blue, vote blue, and until the next video, Thank you for your attention to this matter.